Hey, you're watching the Waffle Press TV Hangouts. My name is Diego Crespo, and I am your host, along with another wonderful host I have here with me.
And Mighty Sophia in the house.
There we go. How are we doing today, Mighty Sophia?
We are alive and well, far more awake than I have been in recent Disney recovery days. And I just watched the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, so I've got a lot of stuff buzzing around in my head.
Oh, yeah. Really quick, though, this is going to be our rundown for today. We're going to talk a little bit of Game of Thrones because we're both huge fans of that. Emily does reviews on her channel, and I believe you podcast with someone else on their channel about Game of Thrones. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. That is on the Richmond Filmcast with my friend Wes Richmond. We've been doing weekly podcasts on that too. So lots of Game of Thrones content going on.
Yes, and links down to that in the doobie-doo. But yes, we're talking halfway through Game of Thrones, our thoughts on the season so far. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. renewal because, thank God, I was getting a little worried for a while. And then what happened to the Mockingbird spinoff, because that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then we're going to wrap up for like 100 hours on everything that happened in the season 2 finale because so much happened. But let's just dive right on into it. What are your thoughts on Game of Thrones so far this season?
I love this season. I have been just having the damned funnest time watching it, and I don't know where everybody else is at. I haven't been reading tons of reviews about the episodes or anything. I usually try and do that even before I do my own reviews of material just to kind of see who thinks what and take the temperature of the fan community. It's something I try and do. But with this season, I've just been kind of kicking back and letting it take me where it's going to go. And also, I mean, as one who has not read the books, I'm just sort of, I sit and I watch my brother, who is an avid book fan, just kind of losing his mind and not knowing what to do with himself. And I'm just like, whatever. There's going to be a battle and I'm excited. I think it's so cool the way that everything is being set up and there's a lot of steam and tension that's even being released along the way. So it's not just this great big constipation leading to the battle at Winterfell and Stannis's charge to the Iron Throne. I mean, there's all these things that are happening at disparate parts in the world, but they all feel so interconnected at the same time. Even like thematically, each episode has just been crafted really well, has been visually breathtaking. I mean, the last episode.
Oh man, those shots. Yeah.
Just beautiful. Like I am astonished at just how they keep taking it up a notch. I mean, we're heading into new lands and new territories, and the way that the camera just sort of invites us into that is so magnificent and just makes it such a pleasure to watch unfold, and everything that's going on with the characters and with Sansa and Winterfell and Jon teaming up with the wildlings, and Stannis is on his way out and Dany is doing stuff. Tyrion is on his way and Jorah, and like just all the pieces are in motion. There's really not a lot that has felt stagnant to me at all. So I'm loving it. I think it's good fun.
Yeah, as an avid book reader of the series, I was not concerned, just curious, very curious about how all this stuff would have been handled. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's some new material that's going on. Like I think the 4th episode was entirely new material, if I recall.
Oh,
I guess spoilers obviously for the midway points of season 5 of Game of Thrones and everything up to that, obviously. Yeah. Barristan Selmy didn't die in the books. He's alive.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I was like, what? No, what? What? No way. Because, I mean, I like that the way it's played out, though. I mean, everything's falling to different areas of writing, but it's not shoddy writing.
Yeah.
and it's very well told. And yeah, thematically, every episode is consistent, and they got their own little stuff going on each episode. Because I mean, that's a beautiful thing about Game of Thrones. They have like dozens upon dozens of plot lines and characters to follow, but they all tie into each other, whether or not it's through story or through family lines or just thematically. And that's good writing. Whether or not we actually like these characters, I think that's impressive, you know. And the Sansa stuff is really, really exciting to me because she wasn't there in the books either. She doesn't get married to what's his face from
Ramsay.
Misfits. Thank you, Ramsay Snow. Bolton now. Bolton. I forgot about that. This season's so exciting, and the cinematography, holy shit. I'm gonna put a picture up on this of one of my favorite images from the entire show now. Is where Tyrion and Jorah are by Valeria. They're by Valeria, and it's just such a beautifully composed image that, like, oh man, this is one of the best looking shows ever. I think Hannibal's still the best.
Oh yeah, that's on a whole nother level.
But I mean, there's so much happening. I don't know where the season's headed because now I'm in new waters like all of the non-book readers, and that's exciting to me because I like most of what they've done to change up the material. Because by this point, the books are slow. They're slow, and not a lot happens anymore.
Yeah,
it's just like everything's evolving constantly, and I really love the addition of Tyrion's buddy, who can't remember, Bronn and Jaime. That's so fun. It's exciting.
I know. It's just so swashbuckling. It makes me really happy to see the two of them going together, and it just makes a lot of sense. I enjoy that.
Yeah, as do I. I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about. We'll definitely be doing like a whole season review at the end of this thing. But as of right now, do you have a favorite story that you're following in the series?
Oh my gosh. I am just so... What do I like the most? I'm trying to think of what's been getting me the most excited, like week after week. I think it's been... Wow, my brain is like I'm trying to come off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna remember everything that happened, and now I'm like, wait, what's going on again?
No, that's okay. I could let you stall for time while I divulge mine.
I have really been enjoying stuff in Winterfell because I have just been like, all my oh shit moments are happening in Winterfell right now. I think that's been huge. And from what I hear in the books, Sansa's been stuck in the Vale, engaged to her sickly cousin, and just not a lot going on for her at the moment. And so the fact that she is in definitely the most happening and dynamic place to be right now, because Stannis is on her way. Stannis is on his way, and his army and his family too. Why not bring the whole gang? And then like Brienne and Podrick are still kind of hovering in the distance. I think that it's quite possible there's going to be a Brienne and Stannis confrontation at some point, because they wouldn't just have her talk about her grudge against Stannis for no reason, and in no uncertain terms state that she would love to kill him. And then, of course, with what's going on with the Boltons, and then Sansa's receiving these cryptic messages about how the North remembers, go to the tower, and if you ever need help. And it's like, is that connected to Brienne? And so she is in one of the most fascinating positions right now, and could very well become like the wardeness of the North. And she is home, but everything around her is so broken, so different, and the way that she's adapting to that. And now, of course, spoilers for the latest episode, having encountered Theon for the first time too, it's just like, oh man, things are getting ready to hit the fan there. So I think that is my favorite part right now. I don't know.
No, that was actually my favorite part, but that's fine. Oh, no. No. I mean, Sansa's been my favorite character for a while. So I'm always drawn to her stories. This one is so It's good to be excited about her character because that's what I was worried about. Like, are they going to keep her in the veil the whole time for like
Yeah.
3 years, whatever the hell? But no,
Mhm.
this is great. I mean, it's a little more traditional medieval stuff, like fantasy, like they gotta save the princess type of thing. But obviously,
Right.
I think that's not going to work out well in
Mhm.
everyone's favor. And sometimes it is a little nice just to just embrace that trope, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's less about filling a trope thing, and it's
Mhm.
about these characters fulfilling these roles and taking on these types
Yeah.
of adventures. And God, I barely love any characters more than I do the characters of Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
And I am a little worried for Brienne, especially because her and Potter are
Yeah.
by themselves, and they
Mhm.
got to face Stannis probably because I want them to team up to save Sansa, but I
Yeah.
don't think she will.
No, because I mean, she continues to go back to the oath that she's sworn, and just against all odds, against all sense, she is given every opportunity to go forth and to do something else with her life. But she is committed to Catelyn Stark. And I think the fact that she is committed to hating Stannis means that she is going down with that to her grave if necessary. And it also intertwines with her desire to protect the Stark progeny as well. So she is closest to Sansa right now. She knows that she is in a very dangerous place. And then, oh hey, Stannis, the guy who killed your former master, all this stuff, like it's just I love the character of Brienne, but I am really scared for her, and I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot to talk about. You want to say anything else before we move on to our next subject? Because there's a lot more to talk about with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
Yeah, there is. I will just say one thing that I think what's coolest about this season is the fact that we have a lot of young, like up and coming leaders. And now the charge for the throne is beginning. Like, this is the very tip of the iceberg of what I think is maybe the end game of the show. That's not to say that it's going to be ending soon, but the ball is now rolling because we have Dany, who little does she know that political help is on the way. So even though she is definitely dedicated to substantiating herself and her reign in Meereen, there's other stuff coming. And so she's sort of a candidate. I mean, Jon Snow as Lord Commander is making a lot of really interesting choices and has come into power, and he's finding his footing in that. And then Stannis and Cersei, and there's just this great big giant power struggle that's at play. And I think that is and there's been a lot of parallelism between the characters because of that. And I think the cohesion of it all, even though they're all in different sides of the world, just makes me really excited and really invested in what's going on.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
eventually all these plot lines are going to converge, and it's going to be nasty, and everyone's going to
Mm-hmm.
die because it's Game of Thrones. How could they not?
Straight up.
I hope we start seeing that sooner. And I've always said this since I started watching Game of Thrones and I read the books.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to see Jon and Tyrion meet up again because their dynamic in just the first
Yeah.
couple of episodes is so exciting to me. Like they just
Yeah.
make sense to pair them together because they're both outcasts and they've had to make
Mm-hmm.
their own way in the world. And right now, one of them's doing good and is hated for it. One of them's doing terrible and is hated even more for it. So it's like,
Yep.
they're just bros. They're made for each other, you know. Bro TP,
I think so.
as they